Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of our Farming RPG tutorial series. So we basically have crops and NPCs to interact with. So I thought that we should get started on rearing animals. And so this will be the first step in doing so. Let's start small with the incubator for our chickens. So first we'll get a chicken coop prefab, bring it into the scene, rotate it, and then we'll set up the scene for our chicken coop. It's gonna be a lot like our player home, so let's just duplicate it and rename it. This chicken coop. We don't need the essentials prefab. We don't need any of these props. This will be the floor for our chicken coop. It's about half the size of our house. So let's make this fit nicely. This is our entry point. Our boundaries are nicely set. Okay, save that. And now over in our scene, let's go to Scene Transition Manager and add our new scene, chicken coop. And since it's an indoor location, we'll add this to our list of indoor locations. And then we'll add the location points for our chicken coop. So we duplicated one from the player home, move it here, and position it accordingly. And then we'll add this to our build settings. Oh, don't forget to change the value. Chicken coop changes to, should switch to the chicken coop scene. Okay, now we have this nice little cozy place. Maybe you should make it a little bigger. 0.75 perhaps. Okay, and now let's create the incubator prefab. The polygon farm. Find a suitable prop. Call this incubator. And let's make an egg. Size of it should fit nicely. There's an egg. So we've got an incubator and an egg. And make them all prefabs. Now this incubator, when it has an egg, it will have an egg. When you put an egg in it, it'll look like this. Now let's create the item for the egg, item data. Now over in our egg prefab, An interactable object should be a egg item. It's represented by an egg. This one is just for our display, so there shouldn't be any logic in it that the player can interact with directly. Okay, so now we have a little incubator, and let's make a new class for it. Let's make a folder. Call this animals. We'll create a new class, call this incubator. We'll open this up. Now an incubator should keep track of whether it has an egg and the time to incubate. And then this is the egg to display. Now I'm thinking that the player should be able to upgrade his chicken coop and place more incubators around. So there would be multiple incubators, and so we'll need a way to identify it. So similar to our land class, we had this ID to identify which incubator was which. So let's do that. This should inherit our interactable object, which we will override a pickup function. So we don't need it for this. Picking it up, we'll first check if the player is throwing an egg. So how do we check if it's throwing in an egg? First, you get the item data, the hand slot item. So let's make this a function. So to get the hand slot item, we use inventory manager dot instance get equipped dot item type item, because the eggs are in the item section. And then the player is not holding anything, it's another requirement. If there's already an egg inside, should not be able to incubate it. So this is a preliminary check. And now we can finally examine what's the hand slot item. And we'll be using the interactable objects base class item for this. There. So now in our little incubator, add the incubator script, set our item to egg, display egg or egg, and we'll create a function to start the incubation. So if we can incubate it, so to start the incubation, you have to consume the item. And now we need a function to handle the update of the incubation state. And because in future we also want to update the time to incubate, so we'll also take in time to incubate. Its function would be set the values accordingly. And with that, We'll set the incubation state to true. And we'll just put a random value in here for now. And let's see if this works. Let's start the player off with some eggs and play. Then we'll go to the chicken coop. Oh, it's not centered. Oh, forgot to set the incubator to item. Try again. There. So we're able to put an egg into the incubator. It's great. Maybe instead of a mesh collider, give it a box so it's easier to interact with. Okay. So now we have our little incubator, and we've yet to update this time to incubate thing. Previously in our land class, we would edit it in the class, we update it in the class itself. See, listen to clock and update. But since then, we've wanted to also have this information updated outside of the scene. So first we will need to represent our incubator in a serializable class, which we can also save. So we create a new class, we call this egg incubation save state. We're not gonna inherit from on a behavior, but give it a system.serializable attribute. And just like our incubator class, it's gonna have our incubator ID and time to incubate. We're only going to instantiate this class when an egg is inside, so we don't need a boolean. And then we'll create a constructor. A tick function that will be called on every clock update. So on every tick, the time to incubate decreases. And with that, we have our serializable class. Now let's create the manager class for this. Incubation manager. And our incubation manager class, much like our land manager class, you have a static variable, static list of our egg incubation save state. Call this eggs incubating. And we'll have a constant for the days it takes to incubate an egg. Set it to 3 days for now. And then within the class, we'll have a list of incubators, just like our land manager. Yeah. Actually, for now, we're gonna edit this from the editor anyway. So now we'll need a function similar to this. Void register incubators. And then our on enable. Call this function. Let's go to our chicken coop, add our incubation manager, and add this incubator. Yeah. Okay, so now that we have this registered, we need to update the egg value as the clock moves. So but this has to happen even when the player is outside of the scene. So you have to create a static void update eggs. Before we update, we also need to start the incubation process by adding to this list. So let's go back to our incubator class. under start incubation. Instead of this 100, get R days to incubate. Then we convert it to hours. And then we convert this to days. To minutes. And then we register and we'll pass our incubation ID and the time being. It should have been set from here. Okay. And now we can update it. First we have to check eggs incubating count. Then we do a loop. Add a tick to each egg. Then if egg dot time to incubate is 0, remove the egg. And then the chicken spawns. A chick, at least. Okay, now let's call this over in our game state manager. Forgot to add an entry in our location manager from our chicken coop. Okay. So just to make things easier to debug, over in egg incubation save state, add a debug.log. It will take about 3 days. Just sleep in through this 3 days. Okay, it throws this error. Collection was modified. This is because we modified the collection while in this for each loop. So what we can do is make a copy of this instead using system.ling. So we'll be iterating through a copy of the list, so it will not affect the modified collection. Also, we need a function to load in the incubator data when the player walks into the scene, because as if you did not see earlier, the player had already put an egg in, but then once he leaves the scene and comes back, the egg is not displayed. So create a function, load incubator data. So we get the ID from the save state, and then check if let's use this, is incubating true. And then at the bottom, we'll just take the incubator to load and set its incubation state to the is incubating. And time to load. So if the egg is ready to hatch or has already hatched, we set this to false. And now we have run into another problem. We want to update to call this function when the player is in the scene. But if the player is not in the scene, it doesn't have to call it. So what we can do is use a Unity event on egg update, and then we'll add a listener. And now when the player leaves the scene, there shouldn't be a listener anymore. And with that, we need to call this somewhere. Below the take function would work. On egg update dot invoke. Now if I leave and come back, the egg is still there. It's good. Okay. So now it works. Now but the data doesn't save as of now. So if we were to exit the game after saving, this would not record. So let's add the save information over in our game save state class. Let's add under farm animals, egg incubation save state. And we'll add this to our constructor. And with that, we have to go to game state manager, and in all our this add incubation manager dot x incubating, and in the load function, load this up as well. Okay, now let's test it if we had 2 incubators. Give our player a little bit more. Let's give him 5 eggs. We'll continue. Oh, there's a bug. We did not save eggs properly. Don't forget to add our egg to the item list. Okay, now it's rendering. And they have the right still there, which is good. We didn't actually code the hatching sequence, so for now, let's check if we get the debug message for when the chick hatches. Okay, yep, so all in all it works. That's it for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed the video. Want to support what we do? You can help us by becoming a patron. This will give you access to the project files for our tutorials, as well as patron-exclusive posts on our blog. Any support you can give will go a long way. Currently, we are making back about 20 cents for every dollar that we put into content creation. So your help will go a long way to help make this a sustainable endeavor. And with that, we'll see you next time.